We're at this property, we're doing a quick walkthrough. I'm gonna show you some things to look for. You guys are gonna wanna keep an eye out for. Door jams, always the first thing. If it's kind of broken out, you might wanna think about fixing that, what it's gonna take. That looks like a pretty minor repair. Flooring, that stuff's always gonna be an issue. Always check the fireplace, make sure no water's leaking in there. That would tell you, your flue cap's missing, stuff like that. In the kitchen, always look for water damage under the sinks. One of the first things you want to look for. You'll see it here on the P-traps and stuff. If water has been leaking, you'll see kind of that pattern, and you'll know to keep looking. But just kind of look for a general shape in there. If the cabinets are water damaged, you have to replace them. So that gets expensive pretty quickly. You don't want to be messing around with that too much. Appliances don't matter that much. We usually replace those. Bedrooms, if there's closet doors, check the shape of them. Check this door. Door jams as always. Probably gonna want to replace these or paint them or something, but always check front and back for damage because that's gonna be a few $100 if you have to replace them. And then always check out the windows. Windows are important. These are all wood, double pane, so at least they're not single pane. But to really get a high-end flip, you'd have to replace those. These I would probably just leave. They look fine. They're not drafty. They're painted over and glazed and sealed well. So we can probably just move right on. This house was built probably in the 70s, I'm guessing. So it's not going to be too old and nothing too crazy. And always just kind of look up in the corners for water damage because a leaky roof is going to usually come down and run to a corner. So just kind of always look at the ceilings and check those out. Yep, closet again. No doors here, so nothing to worry about there. But, oh, there are closet doors. Okay, so if there's closet doors and they're the kind that bypass each other, then just try to pull them out and check them as best you can. You won't always get the best view of them, but it's good to know if you're going to be able to just throw paint on them or if you're going to have to do, fix a hole that somebody kicked in there. And then another thing, guys, this is the older style of heater register. So they're going to come up right in the floor, right? They're not going to come up, or they're going to come up in the wall like this. They're not going to come up in the floor with just a nice floor plate that, the modern ones have. So just know that these are hard to find. They're expensive. So you're going to have to strip all the paint off these, kind of give them a little refresh if that's what you're going to do if you're going to keep those. But usually you want to keep those because where they lay those out is funky and old. And to move it is a lot of work and money you don't want to be spending. Also, one thing I forgot to tell you guys is look in the closets, always at the flooring when there's carpet, because in all the closets you can see the hardwood flooring underneath revealed and it looks like it's in pretty good shape. Now, that doesn't mean the whole room's in good shape, but it means they're there and it could be a possibility to just, refinish those and keep going. Okay, so this is a little weird. This bathroom. I don't want to guess what the brown stains on the floor are. The big brown streaks, but they're not something you want to be eating lunch on. So in the bathroom, check around the toilet for water damage, bubbling flooring, anything bowing, any big water stains. This one looks pretty good, surprisingly. It's just a little dirty. And then do the same under the sink. Now, showers are weird. If you have a wall like this where you can see the back, always look at the bottom because if that valve leaks in this wall, it's going to come out from both sides usually. And there's a little bit of softness and bubbling here right against the tub, but you can also see the caulking kind of failed and it's probably just water running there if I had to guess. That looks pretty normal for this. It doesn't look like there's a ton of damage. And again, look around the shower. In bathrooms, always look up for mold in the corners because if the bath fan's not working well, you're going to have moldy corners. And this one looks really good. It's got the old style fan. Those things are amazing. They almost never fail. I'm gonna wash my shoes after that one. All right, let's head to the basement. A little dark down here. Coming down the basement, always check the stairs. How do they feel to you? Anything overly creaky? Like it might be a little creaky, but in older houses, that's gonna be pretty normal. In the basement, I'm kind of just looking for what's finished and how nicely finished is it? Am I gonna have to replace any of this drywall? And then another thing to look at is this fireplace is underneath the fireplace upstairs. So that means you're gonna have 2 chimneys going up. So you're gonna wanna come and check this one as well to make sure no water looks like it's coming down and in. That's usually a bad sign. It's not terribly hard to fix, but it could mean, you gotta replace the flue cap on top. The chimney could be damaged on the way down from water getting in and freezing and thawing. And it might just be something you want to think about, you know, maybe just closing off, boarding over, you know, with some nice drywall or something. But if it looks dry like this one, probably keep it. You could throw a gas one in there. You could leave this one as is. This one looks pretty decent. And just like some random wires and stuff and weird holes in the ceiling here. That's not a huge issue. You know, we're going to have to patch the drywall. We're going to paint here anyway. So if you're painting, you may as well be patching. This is the 4th bedroom down here. It's probably non-conforming because we are in Washington. They do have egress window requirements. I guess Idaho does too, but Idaho, you don't need a closet and things like that. So they're a little more lenient. So to actually count this as a bedroom, you might need to throw in an egress window or two. Now I want to have you guys come in here and check this out because someone told me to look at this. And I want to show you guys because it's important. Fuse box. Always find the fuse box in a house. This one's not UL approved. It's not a modern one. It doesn't look like. Nope, I don't see the UL stamp on it. So you're going to have to factor that in. You're going to have an electrician come out and replace this. That's going to be probably $1,000. And now let's head over to the mechanical room and check that out because that's going to have a lot of good stuff. Okay, let's do this space first, actually. This looks fine. So in these weird, random, big, open basement spaces, look up for water damage everywhere because if any water comes down, it's going to run along joists, it's going to run to the corners. So be really diligent. And I know the kitchen sink is right above this. So if you can, just kind of feel around for it and just see it. If, you know, something like this could be covering up some damage. You never know. So just kind of take a look. We've got an extra door down here, so that's good. And wherever that belongs, we'll put that back. It looks good. Check out the plumbing. Try to find the water shutoff. Is it really modern? Does it look like it would actually work? These are kind of important things. And then anytime you have basement windows, always look along the bottom because if water's getting in there, it's going to drip to the corners and the sides. So always check out the basement windows, always on the bottom there. And again, it's not, I wish I could see the joists. I wish these were exposed bays, but they're not. That's okay. I don't see any, this drywall looks like it's been here for a while. It's nailed up, so it's not like somebody just put drywall over this to hide something. So if there was any water damage, it would probably already have shown. Now here's what I'm talking about when you want to find your water supply and you want to look at the shutoff valve. This one's obviously been having a little small leak, a little pinhole leak. You can kind of see the dark stain here. So just factor that in. You might want to have somebody replace that for you, put in a nice one, maybe bring it up here, you know what I mean, and then have a shutoff here. But you definitely want to think about that. Now, one other thing to look for in the basement. Where does the sewer exit the building? Okay, so this little 2-inch sewer goes out the floor. That's a good sign. Because if you want to add a bedroom, or if you want to add a bathroom in the basement, you got to have plumbing in the floor. If the plumbing goes out the wall, like at my house, good luck putting a toilet on the floor. You're going to have to get a pumping toilet. It's got to pump it up and in, and it's kind of gross. It's doable, but it's kind of gross. Okay, on to the mechanical room. So again, the bathroom, the main 4-inch sewer goes out the wall here. Probably goes to the back of the property, would be my guess. But what you want to know about this is that you can't put a toilet down here that's not a pumping toilet. Okay, so if you want to, hey, I'm going to make this a 4-and-2 instead of a 4-and-1, you're going to have to get a pumping toilet, run the shower into it. It's doable. I've done it. I've had friends do it. It's not a huge deal, but you're not going to be able to just drop a toilet in. The good thing is you don't have to tear up the slab to put it in a bathroom, so it does make it a little easier. So this is a weird thing. Didn't expect to see any of this, but here's some kind of cable just severed, hanging loose. I don't know if that's power cable. I'm not going to touch it, but, you know, try to trace it. It goes outside. Could just be a satellite TV or something. And then gas. If you live in a place that has natural gas, find the supply pipe. Figure out where it comes from. So here's one for the dryer. That goes over here, and then it runs straight out here. I know the gas meter's on that wall. I mean, there's a shutoff at that valve, and there is a shutoff at the furnace, which is good. And then this thing's got AC. You can see the condenser line here. This thing is pretty ancient, so I'd probably plan on a full HVAC system, a few $1,000. Okay, last but not least, look for your water heater. They have a blanket on there, so it's hard to tell, but it'll tell you the date on there. It'll tell you when it was manufactured. It'll tell you how long it lasts for. You know, the nicer ones are 10, 12 years. The Cheaper ones are 3 to 5 years. So look at the tank, look at the date on it, and you'll know kind of if you have to replace it or not. Sometimes it's not a bad idea to just replace it and prevent any headaches from happening. Okay, now that we're outside, what we want to look for is along the drip edge and the fascia here. Obviously a lot of rot. And what happens is here, a lot of people don't put an airspace behind this. There should be a finger of airspace behind the drip edge so that the water drips off and not onto the soffit and fascia. So that's probably going to need to be cleaned up and painted. Always look at the roof. I mean, the roof and the chimney are going to be your biggest points of failure, your most expensive things to fix. So check those out. There's some moss on this one. You probably just power wash it off. But one thing I want to show you I saw when we were walking through the backyard. So on the back roof, this huge maple tree has been just sitting here and growing on it and dropping all of its leaves and seeds. So it's hard to see even the condition of the roof, but you're gonna wanna guess that this is gonna need some love back here. Because anytime that plant matter sits on there, the water sits on there, freeze, thaw, yada yada, causes damage. Shingles do not like to stay wet like that. So I'd probably maybe budget in half the roof, redoing this half of the roof, maybe just power washing the front. You might want to budget in the full thing, but always check the roof. It's a very big expense when you're doing a reno, and you can't get away without doing it. That 2x4 side support is definitely not big enough. It's definitely just hanging by some joist hangers. So I can tell you right now that's not to code, and that probably going to want to just tear that off if you're flipping. If you want to replace it, just know you're going to have to rebuild that. It's just, that's not to code, that's not safe, it's not strong enough. And kind of everything else, you can see a really old AC condenser over there. We kind of knew that based on the age of the furnace, that we're going to just rip the whole AC system out, the whole HVAC system out, and replace it. Now, there's one school of thought that says don't replace the AC, just put a furnace in, let the new homeowner worry about an AC, and that's fine. Kind of depends on what you want to do. Other than that, it's really good property. You just need some cleanup and some trashing out, and that's about it. All right, so we're just finishing up our walkthrough here. The property looked really good. We've already got an offer in. There's a bunch of other people here at the walkthrough, so we'll keep you updated on what happens with this one, but I think we're gonna go after this one. This looks like a great property. Remember, we're not doing any major repairs. Even though the roof is like it is, I think we don't get away with doing half of it. The inside is pretty cosmetic. We have to redo a full bath, but the kitchen looks pretty good. You could probably paint the cabinets, replace the appliances, and be fine there. So guys, stay tuned to see how this one turns out. It could be a really interesting flip. If we end up getting this one under contract, you guys are gonna get to watch us as we flip this thing and make this thing beautiful, rehab it, improve this neighborhood, and just do this community a bunch of good. It's REIClub. I'm George Uno. Thanks for watching. Take care, guys.